Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and joining me in the announce booth, as always, is Larry Lefty McLeod with Jonathan Grabowski working extra hard tonight behind the scenes to give you all the best views of tonight's two 30-minute sprint races that we have on tap. So Larry and I have spent a lot of time this spring and summer in the Emilia-Romagna region of northern Italy. And first it was a Imola for World Challenge, and then just a few weeks later in early June, we brought you that league's action from tonight's venue, a circuit that plays host to everything from Grand Prix motorcycle racing to Formula E and Formula 4, as well as numerous sports car championships like the Sports Car Series, where our GT4 and LMP3 racers are in the heart of their season. Now just 51 years young and named after a local legend who gave his life for the sport he loved at MotoGP's 2011 Malaysian Grand Prix. Welcome to the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. And good night. You know, that's the second week in a row I've said that, Larry. Good evening to you, and welcome back to Misano.
Well, it is like middle of the night actually at Misano in real world right now. It's probably 2 o'clock in the morning. But hey, Greg, how's it going?
It's going well.
It is good to be back in this part of Italy. It's a beautiful place. This will be interesting because we were here for, as you said, the World Challenge. A little faster in both aspects of their prototypes and their GT cars than we're going to have tonight. I think tonight could be a little bit more opportunities for passing, could be a little bit more playfulness, as you will, amongst these cars. But also, we're in our sprint format tonight, so things will be a little bit different there as well, where a lot of aggression could pay off. Positioning for that inversion of the second race always pays off. So it'll be an interesting night tonight. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, indeed. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, you know, of course, Misano, it's a very flat circuit, not a lot of any elevation change, not a lot of camber in the corners, nothing like where we were just a couple of weeks ago at Watkins Glen International for round number 5. But let's do this, Larry. Why don't we turn things over to Kevin Ford? He's going to give us tonight's track guide of the Misano World Circuit.
Welcome everyone to Misano GP Circuit, located here in beautiful Misano, Italy. Great to have you with us as we cross the stripe here at Misano and head down into Turn 1 for your track guide today through this amazing 2.61 mile circuit. Through Turn 2 here, we're going to stay right, work our way through Turn 3, right across the curbing there. Allow the car to track out to get some good speed up off the exit there and head down into this very tight Turn 4 of Rio. Very tight wrapping corner. This will lead us into 5. We'll stay track right to get that left-hand rotation into 6. And here we go, open real estate. First opportunity for overtaking as we head through this slight bend of 7. This will bring us down into a very heavy brake zone of Corchia, turn 8 here. Very tight left-hander, wraps back against itself. Got to be easy on that throttle coming up off the corner. Very flat circuit here, not a lot of undulation or elevation changes here as we head down into 9 and now into turn 10, Tramonto. We'll make our way up out of Tramonto. We'll have another overtaking opportunity here, obviously, on this straightaway. A little bit of draft here, so drivers might get a shot at getting down in the inside of their competitor heading into turn 11, a series of right-handers here at the end of the lap. Come down into turn 12. You'll notice each one of these gets a little bit tighter. Now down into 13 here. We're going to wrap it a little bit closer. Now into 14, heavy on the brakes. Right down into the bottom of that apex, get that car to rotate. We're going to come back track right for the final 2 left-handers here at Misano. Turn 15, and then up out of 15. We'll dive into this final rotation of 16. And we'll use up that track exit there to get some good speed up onto the front straight. There we go, across the front stripe, Misano GP. There's your track guide. Thank you very much for being with us.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of the Misano World Circuit. And you know, Larry, when we did the World Challenge, I kind of joked that I thought that it was the very first time that Kevin had ever been the Misano when he recorded the track guide. And so tonight, it's the second time that he has been here. And you know, it's one of those circuits. Yeah, there are a couple good passing opportunities there at the end of some very long straightaways, but it's, you know, again, one of these circuits where I think for the majority of the lap, it's going to be very difficult for people to get passes done here.
It will definitely be tough, and what we don't have tonight is we won't have that pit stop window there like we would in the longer formats of these 2 30-minute sprints. You're going to have to do it on track, so I think that's maybe what may play into a little bit more aggression that we had seen in the 75-minute format we saw in the World Challenge. We kind of waited, maybe tried the pit stop thing. Tonight, this place has got a great long pit lane to do passes like that if you can, but tonight, no, you have to do it all on your own merit, and that'll be fun to watch. I think it could be very aggressive in a lot of fun ways, and, well, it could be also a lot of tears tonight. We'll have to see which way it goes.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how things play out. So our racers right now, Larry, I believe that they are out for their lone qualifying sessions currently, as we have now Baron Glover out on track. And he is number 13 TWS Ligier. And Baron was our fastest driver in practice this week. He turned in a qualifying time, or a practice time of 1:34.701. We'll see how things play out for him if he can. If you were with us 2 weeks ago for the last time we were at SportsCar Series, or even last week with the World Challenge, you had seen the different attempt at qualifying. Tonight we're back to our traditional single car lone qualifying. They get the whole track virtually to themselves, as opposed to the all cars on track system that we did last week. We'll see if that comes back in a future season, but I think for the rest of this season here in SportsCar Series, we're back to lone qualifying, 4 laps maximum for every driver. And we'll start to have some times here hopefully come on in as we get behind the wheel of one of our drivers here. This is Bailey Petrowski. Petrowski, who is, I believe, leading the championship. He did not have, Larry, the best of times at Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago. Of course, he started on the pole, as he's done so often, but had some issues with some interclass competition. Ended up finishing in 9th position at Watkins Glen. Still leads the championship, and I think it was probably one of the very first races. It was the only round that he did not win. But good to see here as we'll check the times, and he goes to the top of the leaderboard here early on over Travis Schwenke and Mike Dan from Orion Racing.
Yeah, Bailey for sure trying to forget that whole Watkins Glen race if he can and get back to what he does and hope the Glen just becomes one of his drops, as everyone's going to get one drop this season. So he'll be looking to try and get back in the win column here. So this will be a fun one to watch, but also got a couple of, Travis Schwenke's going to try and give him a run. But the problem is that Bailey's just fast. Look at that qualifying time so far, over a second quicker from Bailey Petrowski to Travis Schwenke, currently second quickest, and then another 10th to 10th to 10th as you go to Mike Dan, Josh Vidal, and on down the order.
All right, so we've got times from some of our other racers coming on in. There we go, Mariano Barrios again going to the top of the leaderboard in GT4 Pro with Kevin Carlisle, and Carlisle was our winner just a few weeks ago at Watkins Glen in GT4 Pro for SimCity Racing, and leads the championship currently by a very healthy 34 points over Mariano Barrios, who is currently second in the championship, and then Jeff Jacobs currently sitting third there in qualifying. Should mention that Carlisle was our fastest driver in practice this week in a GT4 car in his Mercedes. He turned in a 1:43.498. And then we see there in GT4 AM as Lucas Dragotta, currently your fastest driver, and Lucas was our winner at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago, although it looks like he has just been displaced, Larry, by Chase West from Aerokinetics. And Chase finished all the way down. He was, I think, the last running driver in GT4 AM, finished 14th at Watkins Glen, and he goes to the top of the leaderboard momentarily. Is now we've got Zach Mosley from Frito Sport taking the point there in GT4 AM.
Well, Chase West, if you remember, did have a good run in Mid Ohio earlier, and I think we ran, if I recall, also one of the double rounds that we ran in the first half of the season. Had a good night there and hasn't started many races. Did have the rough finish there at the Glen a couple weeks ago. So Chase could be in contention here. Like you mentioned, Zach Mosley now sitting on that provisional pole in AM, but Chase could be in the running, as well as Lucas Dragotta right there. Look at the three of them, also almost all of them within a tenth of each other. Could be a lot of fun. In the pro category, you can see your top three there on the ticker. There's only 4 drivers registered tonight in pro. We haven't seen Robert Schwenkler turn a finished lap yet. It'll be the next one. But yeah, you think about it, only 4. So good night possibly in pro to get some points. Yeah, so we've got a good camera right there on Schwenkler. There he is in that McLaren. Just about to finish his first flying lap. Let's see if he can get it down into the 43s and 44s. And see a time in, which means he likely tripped a 1X somewhere on that lap.
Yes, he did. Yeah. So that lap invalidated, and that we saw during World Challenge as well, Larry, where this course, a number of places where you can get off tracks, and I think we even had, again in the World Challenge, a number of racers that were right up against that limit of having points deducted and getting drive-through penalties due to the number of off tracks they were seeing.
Yeah, it's a tough place for that. It's very flat and not the widest track in the world, but you really want to use every little bit and carry all the momentum. And sometimes you catch those little 1Xs, negates a lap here in qualifying, or adds up to being something towards the end. So we'll keep an eye on Schwenkler as we've got the camera there on the Klimovich, the Klim Club in the house. David Klimovich, currently 5th quickest in qualifying in the AM category, 8th overall in GT4s.
Yep, and as we're now just about halfway through this qualifying session, and Larry, it's looking like a pretty hot track currently. We're looking Fahrenheit, 122 degrees is the track temperature right now, and almost 88 degrees ambient air temperature. Feels very much like what I incurred over at New Jersey Motorsports Park here this past week.
Don't think we're going to have any lightning delays though here at Misano tonight.
Thankfully, no.
Well, I tell you what, we did have results and standings. Why don't we take a quick look at the last few weeks and see where we are as we're in second half of the season here. We're only a
Yeah,
couple rounds
indeed.
left.
So let's start off with GT4 AM. And as I think we alluded to, Lucas Dragotta from Rennsport Racing currently leads the championship in AM. The Rennsport racer in his Mercedes AMG GT4 currently has 230 points. That is a 13, and more importantly, 4 wins on the season. 13 points up on Chuck Lobano, also in a Mercedes AMG GT4. Lobano driving for Frito Sport Racing, and then another 20 points back to his teammate Zach Mosley. Both Lobano and Mosley have the remaining 2 race wins here on the season. David Klimovich in his Porsche 718, the Cayman, is currently sitting 4th in the championship, another 17 points back from there. Then Tom Jenkins and both Elias Halabi and Russ Ruddock, they're running in a tie for 6th currently, only a single point back from Tom Jenkins. Let's move over to GT4 Pro, where, as we mentioned, Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing is currently your points leader. He's got a 34-point advantage right now over Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing. Then only another 5 points back to Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff. And finally, Chris Thorman sitting 4th in the championship in his Aston Martin for D2D Sim Racing, only 8 points back from Schwenkler. Should mention that Ken Copeland from The Wrong Stuff sitting 6th in the championship. He is the only other race winner this season in Pro besides Kevin Carlisle. He has 2 wins on the season to Carlisle's 4. And let's now move over to LMP3, where all of our racers, of course, are racing in their Ligier JSP 320s. And I think, as we mentioned earlier, taking the lead in the championship right now with a 20-point advantage, Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing. And he's got 5 wins on the season. His teammate, Eric Violette, who is enjoying a little respite this weekend, Larry, a little rest and relaxation with the wife. He may be checking in from the hotel, but we doubt it. He is currently running 2nd in the championship, has 1 win to Bailey's 5. And then we've got Travis Schwenke from the Orion Racing Team, 4 points back from there. Leo Dragotta, Schwenke's teammate from Orion, another 18 points back. And then we've got Mike Dam, also from Orion, 3 points back from Dragotta in 5th.
Speaking of Leo Dragotta, I think our pre-race guest is about ready to join us.
All right, so let's do this. Let's bring in Mr. Leo Dragotta, driver of the number 118 Orion Racing Team Ligier, currently running 5th in the probably 4th in the championship.
All right, Leo Dragotta joining us here. And Leo, as you're getting ready for tonight's round, just a couple rounds left. We've got this this sprint format tonight. 2 quick races at a track that can be tough to pass. What do you think? Do you think that we're going to see a train, or are we going to see some aggressive passing? What do you think?
During practice, GT4s were a little pain to pass, but nothing you can do about that. Hopefully we could just stay alive for the first part, and then once the grid reset happens at the second one where we invert, maybe I can capitalize on that, because Bailey will be at the back. I mean, Bailey's crazy quick. A 7/10 in quali is a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty big margin there from Bailey. He's not completely unbeatable, but he certainly has that bar, that benchmark pace that you got to be shooting for. But looking at the qualifying so far, you've got the better of your teammates there by a pretty good margin. Have you guys been really working on the setup together there on the Orion team?
Well, because the officials were rained out and there was only rain sets, we had to kind of manipulate them to dries, and Travis did a great job. I mean, he made millions of setups, but the one he made recently is really nice to drive, and thanks to him.
Yeah. So outside of iRacing, I hear that perhaps you've got some real world racing getting underway. What do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do outside of iRacing?
Well, we did a short karting camp back in May, and then got my kart. It's being built right now, and I haven't raced it yet. But we're looking to get some laps in at the track soon.
What kind of cart are you building?
A junior.
Okay. All right. Is that in
Because
yellow
Leo,
206? Or?
Larry's a cart, or Larry races carts. So
You know, I race a rock shifter, so very
Yeah,
familiar
those
with.
shifters are quick. See them going around the track.
They're a little fun. Yeah, I'm sure soon we'll get you into one of those. And I mean, if in the virtual world you can be throwing LMP3s around like they're nothing, then I'm sure you're not far away from jumping in a shifter either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So if you've done a little bit of karting, but you're working on the next level, is that the plan?
Yeah. We'll probably get on the track maybe at beginning of August, and maybe we've got plans for the rest of July. So
And is this something you and your brother are both now getting into?
yeah, he's already started. His car is already ready. He's started a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Well, that's great. So we'll have to follow you guys along. And does that mean you're going to still be able to make all the Ricmotech series races, or are you going to be forced with some other karting races to miss some of this stuff?
No, all of it's on the weekends. I mean, practice. I think the track's closed Monday and Tuesday, so
Okay. All right. Well, that's good.
shouldn't interfere.
Yeah, we'll have to keep up with how you and Lucas are doing. But that's awesome. It's always exciting to see some real world racers converting from the sim side of things. All right. Well, I think we're about to get started here, grading up in a few minutes. Is there anything else you wanted to mention to us here tonight?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thanks, Leo Dragotta. Good luck tonight. Starting looks like on the front row here in LMP3. Good luck.
Thank you.
all right, there you go, everybody. That's Leo Dragotta from Orion Racing. And looking to move up a little bit in the championship, where he currently sits 4th in LMP3. All right, let's take a look, Larry, at our starting order for tonight's race. And I'll tell you what, I'll take, if you don't mind, I'm going to take the LMP3 racers, and if you could go and grab the GT4s afterwards. Starting on pole tonight from D2D Sim Racing is Bailey Petrowski with a qualifying time of 1:32.590. And gosh, that's over 2 seconds faster than Baron Glover ran in practice this week. Leo Dragotta, as you mentioned, going to be starting right next to Petrowski on the front row tonight. Great qualifying for him. He will put that 118 car there on the outside of row 1, with Mike Dam, his teammate, starting 3rd tonight in the number 93 Ligier. Robert Hartley, another driver from Orion, will start in 4th in the number 3 machine. And then we've got Travis Schwenke with Josh Vidal, Schwenke from Orion, Vidal from Hutch Sport, Baron Glover from The Wrong Stuff, scheduled to start 7th, and Aaron Beaver from Rockefeller starting in 8th.
And possibly a 9th in Eric Violet, who's in the session, I see. We'll see if he actually makes the grid or not. All right, let's jump over to the GT4s here. Starting tonight on the pole tonight is Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing. On the outside of row 1, your friendly neighborhood racing, Mariano Barrios, right there on the outside of row 1. Row 2 is going to be on the inside, Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff, alongside our quickest AM driver from Frito Sport Racing, Zach Mosley. On row 3 on the inside, Lucas Dragotta from Dragon Sport Racing, alongside Aerokinetics driver Chase West. Row 4, it's going to be the inside out of the pro category, Jeff Jacobs and SCCA Foundation, alongside the Klim Club's own David Klibovich from Slow Bros Racing. On row 5 on the inside, you're going to have Black Flag E Motorsports, Dale Maxwell, alongside HTPK Racing's Neil Weston. Row 6, you're going to have Chuck Labano from Frito Sport, alongside Andre Wedderburn from All Speed Racing. Behind them, another Frito Sport driver, John Casey on the inside, Chad Seaburn on the outside from Close Enough Crew. And then we've got Greg Brockway, another Frito Sport driver, on that inside alongside Russ Ruddock flying Tortoise Motorsport. And we've got Stephen May from May Forest Racing all by himself there on that last drive.
All right, there you go. And Larry, of course, they are behind the pace car here at 16-turn Misano World Circuit. As we always do, we'll have the LMP3 machine starting ahead of our GT4 cars. We'll have a live starter providing the waving of the green flag. We'll hear that. Well, actually, I guess I won't hear it over the radio tonight. But the starter is being provided by the SCCA Foundation, as well as our stewards for the rest of the race. SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
A quick update there. Eric Violet, he did not set a qualifying time. You mentioned he's off traveling and leisurely not racing this week. Well,
Yeah.
apparently he brought his backup pedals and stuff with him,
Yeah.
clamped him to a desk in the hotel. He's going to join. And he did mention to us, you and I, earlier today, that if he does, he doesn't expect to be anywhere near within 4 seconds of pace. So we'll have to see. But he is at the back of the pack there in this field. We'll see for how long. And he may also be having marital issues after a result of this on his vacation iRacing.
If he was smart, instead of bringing the wheels and pedals, he should have just brought like a PlayStation controller.
Perhaps, yeah. And if somehow, if you want some marriage advice from Eric Violet, I'm sure he'll be plenty to dole out if he's still married at the end of the evening.
You realize he's probably sitting behind the wheel right now in a tux. It's probably a black tie affair.
Could be.
On what may be the longest pace lap ever for him.
He's keeping his distance in the rest of the field, though. He may be a little worried about it, that car's ability to handle from a hotel room in parts unknown. Yeah, he's definitely keeping his distance there all by himself throughout. Bobby Giles actually did set practice times earlier, is not starting the race. So Eric all by himself on the 5th row.
Well, that way he can't hurt anybody, so that's good.
And we're green.
All right, green flag is in the air, Larry, and heading down into turn 1. Young Leo Dragota had a nose up on Bailey Petrowski as they came into turns 1 and 2 into that very first chicane, but Petrowski manages to hold the position, gets back by Dragota. The 2 Orion teammates behind him, Travis Schwenke and Mike Dam, battling it out for position, and Dam manages to hold off Schwenke with Robert Hartley sliding in behind as our GT4 machines get the green flag as well. And Kevin Carlisle jumping out to an early lead over Mariano Barrios. Robert Schwenkler from the Wrong Stuff jumping in as well. Lucas Dragota and Chase West battling it out for second right now in AM, right behind Zach Mosley in the Frito Sport Frito Sport Mercedes, who's starting to open things up.
And that's Robert Schwenkler in the background there that just got spun off. He's going to try and rejoin the back of the field there. That's a rough start for him. He had started up there in the top 3 in that pro category. Let's catch a quick replay of the start here. So Schwenkler, the Wrong Stuff McLaren there in the 3rd spot. And he's going through these corners, looks like all by himself, and just loses it on cold tires.
Just dropped the wheel. Actually, didn't even drop a wheel. It was just cold. It was just cold tires.
Yeah.
He was on the curbing there, and the rear end of that rear engine McLaren just walked around on him, and now he is a very, very distant 4th and pro. But more importantly, it looks like he's somewhere around 17th across all of our GT4 cars.
With tonight's format being 2 sprints, we are doing an partial inversion for the second race. He's going to try and get himself to that inversion spot, see if he can be on that bubble and get into the front of the field for the second of tonight's race. That'll be his goal. He's now about 10 or so spots away from that. As we look at the rest of this field here, we got David Klimovich right now, right behind Jeff Jacobs in that BMW. Klimovich, though, trying to hold off Weston and Maxwell, who are all over the back of him, with Weston in a very similar portion.
And Larry, the inversion point, it appears as though it is listed as the plan is to invert the top half of each class. Top half of LMP3, of which we have 10 cars. And then we've got the top half of GT4, where we have, I believe, 17.
Correct.
So
7 or 8? Or
7 or 8.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
So that means if they're going to flip 8, then that's where Robert Schwenkler needs to get to. He is currently in that 17 spot. So he's got to pass about 8 or 9 cars in order to get to that transfer spot for the second race. We'll keep our eyes on him, but it's getting exciting at the front here of the AM category, Zach Mosley. And you talked about the opening couple of corners. Lucas Dragota did a great job of positioning himself. Wasn't able to really hold that, but he did manage to hold off Chase West behind him. So Zach Mosley there in the red, blue, and black car right there, the Frito Sport entry right in front of the Dragon Sport Lucas Dragota. Similar Mercedes right now running nose to tail.
Yeah, and they are starting, although they've lost the scent of both Barrios, who managed to get around Kevin Carlisle there, and there is that pair right there. The two AM drivers a little bit further back, but Mosley and Dragotta have started to open up a pretty good lead on Chase West, currently sitting third in AM. But again, here's the big change here, and that is that Barrios, I guess Spidey sense, knows he doesn't have a lot of time in this race, only a 30-minute sprint, wants to get things done. So let's take a look and see how he got it done, Larry.
Yeah. So you can see him, a little bit of slide there, it looked like, for Carlisle. Might have led to some lost momentum. Right at the same point, Schwenkler had his issue in a very similar car, actually in the McLaren. This time in the McLaren, though, for Barrios, he's able to keep that stick. And look at that, tuck to the inside, puts Carlisle down behind him. This could be a good little race for the rest of the night if Carlisle's got an opportunity to answer back here.
Yeah, and we saw there where Carlisle tried to push Barrios wide and get the over-under done, could not complete the repass, but it was just that tiny little wiggle on the curb.
Like that.
Yep, just like that at the exact same place. This time, though, Barrios, he knows quickly to go over to cover and try to...
definitely covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got that touch of a wiggle. Carlisle saw it, but Carlisle was almost too close to do anything about it. But look how close they're almost pushing each other around. Barrios, he's doing what I would say is absolutely fair position driving. He's not doing two moves. This is all single move stuff. But this track, you keep that inside line, you can hold your position. But look at now, Carlisle's going to go to the outside, try and get a run as we got spins in the back of the field.
That's Mosley.
That's Mosley, who was leading the AMs. He's going to drop down the order.
Yeah, and Mosley now, he is going to find himself now much further down in the AM field as he continues to fall. And wow.
Yeah, more changes as well. Looks like Weston's gotten his way around both Jeff Jacobs and David Klimovich. Weston there moving right up the order. He was sitting behind a similar Porsche. Let's go back and look at these replays. This is the Zach Mosley and Lucas Dragotta battle. Let's see if there's any contact here or just... You know, I think Dragotta was on the outside. I'm wondering if he expected Mosley to be a little tighter there, and he wasn't. Yeah, we'll see if the stewards take a look at that. I think they're going to, but it'll be a tough one to judge. We'll leave that one up to them. Check back in with this little battle. So now Weston moves up in class. So Lucas Dragotta leading in AM, third overall. Then you got Chase West, Neil Weston now in this Porsche's third. You got Jeff Jacobs in the pro category with the red mirrors, red end plates there in the middle of all this. And a little bit of accordion going on, and I think it's going to be Klimovich taking the brunt of it. Yep, he goes around.
Yeah, just had to get on the binders. Looks like he might have tapped the back of Jeff Jacobs' BMW there, but let's take a look. You can see that as he just dropped the nose, Larry.
Watch from behind, though. Watch, I think it's Maxwell behind him, and see if he gets a little extra help. He does, he did. Just a touch. I think that's Maxwell in the Mercedes.
Yeah, matter of fact, that was the 111 of Dale Maxwell, who now gives up a position to Andre Wedderburn. Actually, I think the two of them are side by side. Yeah, there's Maxwell with the skull and crossbones, and then the Mall Speed machine of Andre Wedderburn as they're just moving back and forth, swapping fourth and fifth position.
In Maxwell's defense there was a big accordion going on, starting all the way up there in front of even Jeff Jacobs that, of course, Klimovich got caught in a little bit, and I think Maxwell just didn't see the double check going on in front of him. And now we got more contact. This time it's Wedderburn alongside of Labano.
I think that was Labano tried to come underneath Wedderburn, and Labano goes around.
Yeah. So here we are, just a handful of laps into this thing on the fourth lap. We've had all kinds of spins and contact already back in the GT4 field.
And we haven't even looked in on the LMP3 folks. Let's take a look and see what Labano did here. I don't know what it is. Wedderburn is like a magnet for this stuff, Larry. And you know, I think
he held his line.
Yeah, he held his line. He gave Labano room at the curbing there at the apex, and Labano just went a little too deep.
Yeah, you know, again, if the stewards choose to review, we'll let them decide. It's their call. That's a tough one, though, because that was just a grazing, and it looked like good, fair side-by-side racing. But speaking of fair side-by-side, let's check in with Mariano Barrios, Kevin Carlisle up front. Barrios, again, going defensive, heading up into this left-hander.
And so, Larry, the question I ask, and this is at the same corner, we've seen that this seems to be the spot. every single lap, one of these drivers gets loose, another one tries to take advantage of it. I just wonder how many laps Barrios is going to be able to keep up this defensive posture.
Yeah. And we're only 8 minutes into this.
Right.
This is a tough thing. He's got to be driving with this
for another 22 minutes.
Yeah, their pace is pretty decent. They're a couple seconds ahead of the next closest, and they're 2 seconds up on where Lucas Tragoda is, currently third in all of the GT4s. So they're not exactly slow, but you watch Carlisle, and I think Carlisle's quicker in a couple of corners, but not anywhere where he can make a pass. That's the challenge here at Misano.
All right, let's take a look at the LMP3 action here, Larry. We haven't checked in for a little while. Something tells me it probably isn't as, well, it might be as fast, certainly isn't as furious as we're checking right now. We've got Leo Dragotta and Mike Dam.
Well, I'm wondering if Leo just got a slowdown because he basically pulled over and let Mike Dam go by. Leo might be serving one of those iRacing course cup penalties there.
Team orders, Larry.
That's one way to make a pass.
Here you go. Is that now moves Mike Dam up into second in LMP3, but Bailey Petrowski, as we see him working his way through traffic on the front straight and completing lap number, what lap are we in, Larry? Completing lap number 6, starting lap number 7. He's already got about a 5.5 second advantage on the rest of the LMP3.
Well, this, I think, might have been what Leo Dragotta was worried about when we were talking to him pre-race, was he's just hoping for the second race, when they invert the order, that Bailey ends up pretty far down and it's going to have to struggle to get through the pack there. But right now, Leo's not helping himself if he's picking up course cut penalties and having to give up spots to his teammate Mike Dam there. But then Travis Schwenke, who's still a little bit further back from those two. Now we get to the stage of the race where they're catching the GT4 pack. This creates all kinds of opportunities. We'll see what this does between Schwenke and Hartley trying to chase up the Dam and Dragotta. Behind Hartley, it's a couple seconds to Baron Glover, another second or two to Josh Fidel, and Eric Violet. Well, he's probably running GT4 pace.
He's trying.
He's somewhere between a GT4 pace and an LMP3 pace. Oh, and he's struggling there as well.
Yes.
This is what using a controller looks like.
That's right. So Larry, maybe if we were at Sonoma, he'd be okay on the drag strip, but
he's open for a lot of attrition. Speaking of attrition, oh boy, that was Klimovich involved. That's Mike Dam involved. We're going to have to catch a replay. I'm sure John's going to cue it up in a second, but this is going to get ugly here.
That's right, and that's going to move Leo Dragotta back up into second and into LMP3. Let's take a look, see how it happened here.
There's Mike Dam and Dragotta coming in, and Dam gets into the back.
Oh, is that Brockway? Wow.
And Klimovich just maybe avoiding it all, goes all the way around the outside through the gravel trap and gets back in. May have more going on with Mike Dam.
Yeah, we're seeing Mike Dam now in the pits, so there is definitely something wrong.
Let's take a look at the Klimovich avoiding what was going on in front of him here.
Drift King Klim.
He was about to get past.
Oh my!
That is beautiful stuff. Sign him up for Formula D. That's beautiful for Klimovich. Good save.
And by the way, that exit curbing, Larry, I think has the most elevation change of this entire circuit. You saw it lifted up the inside wheel of the Klimovich Porsche.
That was beautiful. Yeah, I think we're going to queue up another replay in a second here of Mike Dam and his further troubles. Yeah, let's take a look. As now after his contact and spin, here he is trying to get around Baron Glover as they go down the front straight into turn 1 into this big chicane. And Mike Dam and Klimovich involved. Dam might just be...
Did not take care of the Klimovich Porsche the first time, got him the second time, Larry. So there you go.
Klimovich had done such a good job with that big slide and recovery, and now Mike Dam has to say sorry, and it's not good for Mike Dam.
And Doug Klimovich is in the chat saying, nice move. I'm sure there's a bit of a delay there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's complimenting the move of Mike Dam, but certainly David's earlier recovery. But Let's take a look again. Back at the front of the field as Bailey Petrowski, overall race leader, goes around the race leaders in GT4, and that would be, of course, Mariano Barrios and Kevin Carlisle, who have become inseparable. But Lucas Rigoto, your AM leader, look at this.
Yeah, he's coming up. You know, and this is a byproduct, Larry, of Mariano Barrios doing nothing but defense now for 8 laps.
This will be fun to see if Lucas decides to get aggressive, and maybe if Carlisle goes left, Lucas goes right, leaving Mariano with nowhere to go. Again, look at this defensive line for Barrios, and his exit speeds are compromised, which means he has to go defensive consecutive straightaways over and over again.
Everywhere and every corner.
Yeah, but look at Dragota. You can't defend against 2 different cars. Let's see what Dragota does here. As Barrios continues to defend the inside line, Carlisle's going to try and sweep the outside. Oh boy, it's getting tight out there. As one of the Orion LMP3s is going to come through. It should be.
We know it's
Leo
not Mike
Dragota.
Dam. Yeah. And
Carlisle,
we know
it's
Leo because Lucas is flashing the headlights.
Carlisle almost had the position. He had the inside, couldn't make it stick. Barrios now with a little bit of breathing room as Leo Dragota goes by all 3 of them essentially within 2 corners. So he's going to try and get up the road and leave this mess behind.
So that gives a little bit of breathing room now to the McLaren of Barrios, but let's see if young Lucas can take advantage of the mistakes there.
Travis Schwenke and Rob Hartley, now the other Orion driver, still in this race in LB3, trying to go between them, blitz the traffic of GT4s. Carlisle can't take the inside line. Is there contact with Schwenke there?
I don't think so. I think we saw Carlisle go very wide. Yeah, although that may have been some contact there, as Hartley may have come together with the Carlisle Mercedes.
Yeah, coming through. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through as he does.
I've got wide hips.
All right, let's check in with Wedderburn.
Hips don't lie. All right, yeah.
And he's got Robert Schwenkler, who had that big lap 1 spin all by himself. Wedderburn in the Mercedes, Schwenkler in the McLaren. Schwenkler's going to go around the outside, try and take the large radius and see if he can undercut him here. A little up and under move, and there's contact. Schwenkler's going to go around again.
No! And Larry, I think that was the exact same corner that he went off on the first lap.
And Wedderburn's involved, but again, I got to say, Wedderburn's position's pretty good. Maybe he could have left an inch or 2. Be another. We'll see if the stewards take a look at that. It's just a lot of close racing.
Yeah. And, you know, and whether it be here or whether it be in the World Challenge, Larry, Wedderburn just seems to be caught up in some of these incidents, and I don't think it's a question of poor positioning or not giving racing room. I think that some of the other racers underestimate what he's doing. There's room there.
Schwenkler was expecting Wedderburn to kind of
open up the corner a little bit more,
and he just didn't. But just to go back to the prior incident there with Chuck Labano, the stewards reviewed it. They did assign a 10-second post-race penalty to Wedderburn.
Oh, wow.
For the contact. So he's already got 1 penalty. We'll see if they take a look at this incident here with Schwenkler.
Yeah, I mean, Wedderburn in that incident with Schwenkler, yes, he could have opened up the corner, Larry, but he's not under any kind of obligation to do so, and he left Schwenkler room there to the inside. So, you know, we'll see. Again, Wedderburn already having to deal with a 10-second penalty.
Yeah. There's another penalty also issued for an incident. I'm not sure we saw this one. It would have been between the 111 of Dale Maxwell and then the 21 of Klinovich. Maxwell given a penalty for that one. I think. Yes. For one, Maxwell gets that penalty, and then of course we've got the Wedderburn penalty. And they are looking at the Wedderburn and Schwenkler incident.
So let's take a breath, Larry.
It's not easy.
No, not at all. Let's jump back over here as we watch now as Kevin Carlisle tries to work his way back up to Mariano Barrios. He is still being hounded there by our AM leader Lucas Dragota.
He is. Lucas has a pretty good pace here in the middle of this stint. You see a little bit of damage to the bumper on Carlisle. I wonder if this might be enough, though, for Lucas. Look, he might even have the inside line going into this turn 1, but he's going to back out just a hair. Didn't quite have the overlap. Maybe Lucas is going to be helped there by that LMP3 car that might have set a pick, but not enough.
But through all of this, the Dragotta car just looks much more stable. As we take a look over here at one of our Porsches, and this is the Neil Weston machine, right back behind Chase West from Aerokinetics and Lucas Dragotta.
So this is the battle for second in GT4 AM. This is it. They're both 4 seconds back from Lucas. We saw what Lucas is doing there, chasing Carlisle up in front. These driven a great battle, though, just between the Mercedes and this Porsche. Again, Weston, remember, he started down a couple of spots. He did a great job of getting around Klimovich. He got around Jeff Jacobs, and that may have helped because we've seen all the chaos that's happened to Klimovich. You know, not his own fault, but just in that area of racing. Weston cleared all that. Here he is now pushing Chase West for possibly a second spot in the podium.
Yeah, so Weston came in into tonight's round, Larry, sitting 10th in the championship, and that was after, well, I think taking into account the drops, if I remember correctly, he may not have been at Watkins Glen. Let me see here. Yeah, I think he missed the round at Watkins Glen, and so he ended up dropping down to in the standings from 4th in the championship to 10th. And you know, so
he's been top 5 at the races he's been at. So very consistent here in this category. And then of course the 2 drops. So 1 official drop close at DNS at another race that he didn't join at Ohio. So Weston has been quick when he's here and showing it again tonight.
And Larry, somebody who does not have a fight on their hands right now, that is Bailey Petrowski, as he has now built up his lead to 13 seconds over young Leo Dragotta.
Yeah, his quickest lap of the race is nearly a second faster than anyone else's personal quickest lap. And his last lap was right in that same ballpark. He's clipping off 132s. Couple of 134s. He's got to work through traffic, but he's just motoring around this place. He's just on a different level. And it'll be interesting to see if this finishes this way. What is it like when he's working through traffic, starting down the order with the inverted top 5 or so that we're talking about? We'll see exactly if it is 5. But right now, Bailey doing what he needs to do in the first race, which is go out, win, check out, leave himself no doubt in that.
Well, we have doubts, Larry. We've seen him of
gotta
late.
Finish the race.
Exactly.
Gotta finish the race. He's got margin now in hand to do that if he needs to be conservative.
Yeah.
But behind him, this is the battle for 3rd step of the podium between teammates Travis Schwenke and Robert Hartley. Schwenke in the green trim and Hartley in the yellow trim Orion cars.
And at the moment, they have a pretty, not just a pretty good advantage, they've got a huge advantage, over 20 seconds now on Josh Vidal. Back behind, you can see there, Vidal, I think 40 seconds out of the lead, so about 22 seconds back from Hartley currently.
And they're only about 4 seconds back from the other teammate, Leo Dragotta, pre-race interviewee Leo Dragotta, who's running comparable pace, but if these two can pick up a little bit, maybe they can pressure him in the next 8 minutes before we see checkered flag in this race. Or if they get the traffic and get some help, Leo might end up slowing down. We'll see. We'll keep our eyes on all 3 of these Orion drivers for potential only 2 spots on the podium to give between them.
So, and then, Larry, I guess the question becomes, what is the split for the LMP3 racers for race number 2? We've had, I mean, technically, Bobby Childs never took the green flag, so that gave us 9 racers to begin with. As we check back in with Lucas Dragotta pressuring Kevin Carlisle once again, you know, but with 9 racers, I guess, you know, again, the question is the split 4 cars or is the split 5 cars? If it's 5 cars, then, you know, we could see.
For comedic effect, we'll say
Josh
there's really
Vidal
only 8
up
running.
front.
Maybe there's only 8 running because Eric Violette's one of those 9.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But in his defense, he moved up a spot because Barron Glover actually did come into the pits briefly. Yeah. And so Eric Violette now is technically in 7th. But let's take a look at the GT4 AM leader, Jagoda, who's doing so well there. We just had the camera shot on him still chasing Carlisle. And Carlisle was our pole sitter tonight, if I got this right, in GT4. And
Yes, he
look at
was.
the pace that Lucas has right now.
And Lucas takes a look to the inside again, going into turn 1 with that chicane. And Larry, even with the pressure that Lucas is putting on Kevin Carlisle at the moment, Mariano Barrios has not been able to build up, I think, what would be a sufficient margin. You can see he's only about 4 car lengths up ahead.
And I think Lucas might be aware of that, maybe picking and choosing how much pressure he puts on. Doesn't want to force Carlisle too far off his line, because I think he may be thinking, hey, I think we can catch Mariano here in the next couple laps before this thing's over with. Hey, just want to go back real quick also to the review of the Wedderburn and Schwenkler contact that led to Schwenkler spinning. Stewards reviewed it. No action.
No action. There you go. You win one, you lose one, or you lose one, you win one, or you lose one and the other's no contest.
That's
something like that. So many things, Larry, that I'm not very good at.
All right, well, there is Andre Wedderburn now in a battle with Chad Sebring right behind him and John Casey right in front of them. And all three of these in very similar AMG Mercedes. Probably running slightly different personalized setups, but all three of them in the same make, so not much advantage there. See if Casey can hold them off, or if we're going to see some moves here pretty soon.
And Larry, some changes up at the front of, or not the front, but over in LMP3 is Robert Hartley now moves up into 3rd position, and I didn't see his teammate Travis Schwenke along with him.
Well, let's see here, because they also lost a lot of ground, and that would do it.
Oh.
Decided to just sort of say hello in the middle of the sweeper. Hartley gets the better of the two. Schwenke does recover, but they've lost another 10 seconds or so to 2nd place Leo Jagoda. So instead of being 4 seconds back.
And now Leo Jagoda's off, Larry.
Oh, wow. This will make things interesting, because here comes Schwenke. It was Hartley first and then Schwenke.
And that was coming out of the final corner, coming out of turn 16.
We have a race on our hands for the podium here in LMP3. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th places are all pretty darn close, because right behind them is a green trim Orion. Let's take a look at what happened to Leo Jagoda.
Got a lot of curbing. And that was coming out of the hairpin over at 14.
Yeah, that's the.
And then he comes onto the front straight and just lost the rear end again.
Yeah, there's a kink at 15, and then you've got the 90-degree left-hander at 16, I think, or whatever the corner numbers are. And that may have been where he lost it. So now we've got, in 2nd spot, Leo Jagoda by just a couple of car lengths over teammate Rob Hartley, and then you got Travis Schwenke just 8/10 or a second or so back. So all three of them really close together, working their way through traffic. This ought to be an interesting last couple of minutes, last few laps here with just 3.5 minutes to go. It's Chuck Labano, who's had his issues earlier in the race. He wants no part of this little battle.
No.
Meanwhile, Rob Hartley using the GT4 for a little draft if he can. Hartley can make a move. He was patient behind Schwenke, but now with just maybe, I don't know, roughly 3 laps or so to go, we'll see if he shows the same patience. Traffic for 199, I think that is right in front of him.
Yeah, I think that is
Chad Sebring?
Sebring, yeah, Sebring, Casey, and Wedderburn.
Yeah, well, they're coming up on Casey and Wedderburn right here in front of him. Wedderburn now ahead of Casey. Casey's trying to hold his line, but he's going to get split by the Orion LMP3s. Beautiful. Look at this. They're going to do it to Wedderburn, too.
And Wedderburn's got the big flashing lights on the roof.
And here comes Schwenke trying to do the same. Oh, my goodness.
All right, so the two of them clear the trio of Mercedes. And now it is Travis Schwenke's time.
And he does get past Wedderburn. Wedderburn was able to get past John Casey and all of that. Yeah, so we'll see now. But it does continue to bring these three LMP3 teammates and Orion together a little closer. Dragoda clinging to now just a couple of car lengths lead over Hartley and then Schwenke. 2 minutes to go. Where is Bailey Petrowski? Because he'll decide when we get the white flag.
And I'm showing him just coming onto the front straight now, Larry. There he is.
2 minutes to go.
Right in front of the commentary box.
Should be 2 laps to go. All right, so quick reset of things. Mariano Barrios in that McLaren, your friendly neighborhood racing, has got the lead in GT4 Pro. Kevin Carlisle doing all he can in his Mercedes to hold off your AM leader, Lucas Dragoda.
Oh, and Lucas comes up alongside.
Lucas might have it. Good move by the young driver, Lucas Dragoda, to take that spot from Kevin Carlisle, who was the pole sitter
tonight. Yeah, absolutely. So move Dragoda now up in the 2nd position in GT4. He was already leading the AM ranks. And we saw there Chase West and Neil Weston, the Aerokinetics and the HTPK racers, just a little bit further behind. We're starting to make up more ground on Dragoda and Carlisle as those two started the battle. But you know, we didn't see Carlisle put up too much of a fight there, Larry.
Maybe he knew he was beat to the corner, so he figured let's just keep going. Maybe we can catch up to Barrios out in front. But this little battle going on back here between West and Weston for 2nd place in AM continues to go on as they're a little bit about 4 seconds back from the rest of the field, but they have now got Carlisle having issues falling back into the clutches of West and Weston.
All right, white flag is in the air, Larry, as Bailey Petrowski starts lap number 21 here in our first of 2 30-minute races from Misano World Circuit.
Well, there's Chase West, still 2nd in AM, but now 3rd overall in this race because Neil Weston right behind him in the Porsche. That's Kevin Carlisle, his Mercedes. I don't know if his tires are gone or if he's got something because he is struggling. He's got a damaged...
what else? Other than... we didn't see any other contact and other than what little damage they had from very early on in the race, unless it's created, maybe he has had a toe issue that
because you can see you can see Klimovich there behind them definitely had some damage, but here we go. This is going to be a fun one to the finish. These are 3 Orion drivers now. All 3 are nose to tail on the white flag lap.
Oh, that is a Wedderburn. That was once ago. How are they always end up around Wedderburn?
Mosley.
Yeah, it's Zach Mosley.
You see a red Mercedes, you start thinking, but look at this. Hartley might have a run here to get up the inside of Dragoda. They're going to go side by side. I think it's going to be Hartley's advantage because it's a left-hand turn.
Indeed, and there you go. So move Robert Hartley now up in the 2nd in LMP3, but Hartley runs deep. Now the track comes back to the left. Let's see if Dragoda can sweep around the outside or if he gives up a position to Schwenke as those two
Hartley's
drivers.
Got to block Schwenke, which means Dragoda's got that inside. We're going to have a 3 wide Orion teammates on this short straightaway here. This is going to be pretty wild. Track has to make a right at some point. There's one kink. Look at Dragoda out there holding that outside line, but the inside's Hartley. The defensive move. Schwenke's going to dive in there, but not. He's going to back out.
Larry did just back out. He locked up the front brakes going into the corner there, just as Dragoda swept around the outside.
Well, they've got a couple corners left. Petrowski's already won. That's all over. Let's watch who finishes 2nd because you got Carlisle, who's currently down the order in GT4s. Might be the last roadblock between one of these LMP3s and the finish line. Who's it going to be?
And coming across the line, it's going to be Leo Dragoda finishing 2nd. Robert Hartley 3rd. Travis Schwenke will finish in 4th. In GT4, Mariano Barrios takes the win in Pro and overall. Lucas Dragoda, our AM winner, will finish 2nd. Chase West will finish 3rd for Aerokinetics, and then Neil Weston 4th. And Kevin Carlisle, Larry, he finishes 2nd in Pro, but falls all the way back into 5th. In GT4 with Zach Mosley finishing behind.
Yeah, something definitely struck Carlisle there that kept him from keeping up the pace at the end. Great run for Lucas Dragoda, Chase West, and Neil Weston. Your podium there in AM finishing 2, 3, and 4 in the overall order. And then this guy, Billy Petrowski, we didn't get to talk about him because there was nothing doing except his lightning qualifying pace for the better part of 20 laps. Impressive stuff. hey, guess what? We get to do it all over again. Let's run it back.
Indeed, we do. And Larry, talk about consistency. His fast lap, Petrowski's fast lap, a 32.5. And on the last lap, he ran a 32.6. And again, that was 2 seconds underneath what was being run in practice earlier this week. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We've got a 30-minute race down. We've got one more 30-minute race to go here from Misano, where you're watching the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, where we are witnessing round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and we've got Larry, the first of 2 30-minute sprint races in the books. Let's take a look at that finishing order once again. Here as we had taking the overall win. Well, we'll take a look here. There we go. Let's slide back up. Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing taking the win in LMP3 with Leo Dragotta. And what a fight that was at the end, Larry. Neat inter-teammate fight there between Leo Dragotta, Robert Hartley, and Travis Schwenke. They finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for Orion. Hutch Sports' Josh Vidal finishing in 5th. And over in GT4, Mariano Barrios taking the win in his McLaren, with Lucas Dragotta finishing 2nd in the Dragon Sports Mercedes. Chase West finishing 3rd, Neil Weston 4th. And then Kevin Carlisle, who was our pole sitter this evening, he drops back to 5th. Larry, do you think that Kevin Carlisle was trying to game the system a little bit and put himself on pole for the second race?
It'd be interesting because, I mean, it's a tough place to pass, but if you can get a better spot for the second race, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll have to see.
We'll see if that's what happens. We're still trying to get word from race control as to what the split is going to be for each one of the classes. Again, what we had been told originally was that it was going to be about half the field. Of course, nobody anticipated that it would be an odd number of cars in each class. Who would have thought that could happen? And when they said odd, we thought that Bobby Childs would be in the field, and he's not. So anyway, Larry, we should have things starting up here in a few moments. We give the drivers a 5-minute warm-up session. So if they think they need a little extra practice or what have you before we grid up for the second race, they have some time to do that. We see a number of drivers out on course, like Josh Vidal.
Yeah.
taking advantage of that, and I think there's about 20 seconds remaining.
A couple of those drivers
warm-up session.
Yeah, a couple of drivers we didn't get to check in much with that race because of all the activity going on. Josh Vidal was one of them. Kind of did his own thing there in that first race. I believe he ended up in the fifth spots there behind that crazy Orion 234 finish. Yeah, there he is from Hutchcore Racing in that nice bright yellow, pink and green livery. Cool stuff.
Like it's right out of South Beach.
Yeah.
There you go, and that's the end of the warm-up. Is Josh Vidal's car goes poof, gone.
Just like that. All right, so we'll soon figure out. I think what the way they're going to do this is it's not automated by the sim. Instead,
right.
They've probably got grids set up as a result of the first race. They will manually pull aside and reorder. The stewards will tell who to go into what position. So we're going to kind of learn it as you do. What we might be able to do is once we observe who gets to the front, that should tell us the order of things. Then we can maybe read you down what we believe to be a grid.
Yeah, and while, Larry, we have our racers doing that and getting reordered, and again, thanks to the SDK Foundation for our race stewards that are handling that tonight, we are pleased to announce that our title sponsor, Ricmotech, is increasing its support for our drivers by providing a $100 gift certificate, Ricmo Bucks, to be given away at the end of the season based on a random drawing to one of our lucky racers, and those Ricmo Bucks can be spent on purchases at ricmotech.com, like the brand new mini Might wheelbase that Ricmotech is offering. So I want to thank them as they have sponsored many of these series over the years. So look at this, Larry, we've got everybody lined up there on the side of the track because they're going to try and get everybody reordered.
Yep, interesting way to do this. Everybody pulls to their outside, and then we start queuing them up. And what I see possibly going to the front looks like...
Nobody's moving, Larry. Nobody but the pace car is moving.
I saw a car move for a second, but I was fooled. We'll have to wait and see as John's giving us all the shot of the drivers doing the same thing we are, going, who's next? Who's next? Yeah, there's Mike Dam. That was the car I had seen moving. Remember, he finished that race last because he had the incident and then finished the race sitting in the pits. Let's see if he ends up being the pole sitter, if they invert the whole field or which one they choose to pull to the front. And then we got the same thing happening in the GT4s where everyone's kind of yanked themselves to the side.
Now we have drivers moving, and it looks like, Larry, that Josh Vidal is moving up to the pole. He's going to be joined on the front row by Travis Schwenke, then Robert Hartley and Leo Dragota. Oh, no, pardon me, Bailey Petrowski now moving up into
Leo,
fourth position.
Yeah, it'll be Leo, then Bailey. So it looks like they're inverting the top five. Yep. So as you said, Vidal Schwenke, Hartley Dragota, Petrowski, and then Aaron Beaver, Eric Violette, Baron Glover, and then Mike Dam. Eric Violette might let the whole field start in front of him, considering his pace.
Put him on the pole. Let's see what happens, Larry.
That looks like what he's going to pull in behind Mike Dam. So there's your leaders. Yeah. There's your order. Vidal Schwenke, Hartley Dragota, and then Petrowski on row 3 with Aaron Beaver. That'll be interesting to start that race. Let's see what they do in the GT4s.
Yeah, let's take a look here. For the moment, we've got Lucas Dragota sitting up on pole. We saw him move ahead of Mariano Barrios, but again, we think those drivers are going to be moving back at least one, possibly two rows.
By the way, great race. Let's talk a little bit more about Mariano Barrios and that first race. Started the race in second, managed to, about 2-3 laps in, get away around Kevin Carlisle, and then a beautiful clinic on one move defensive driving. None of this two move blocking stuff. It was all one move, holding his line, beautiful. And then when Lucas Dragota came in, kind of became the wild card in that little fight. Carlisle got into a scrap there with Lucas, allowing Mariano to continue to pull away. Really a great job for Mariano to get the win in that first round.
I think an absolute clinic in car positioning. You know, there were a couple of spots where coming out of turn 8 that we thought that perhaps Carlisle might be able to affect an over-under and come around the McLaren, but was not able to get that done. It was really very, very good positioning.
All right, so I think we've got a grid sorting out here in the GT4s. Here's what I think we've got. They're inverting the top 8, which puts Dale Maxwell as your pole sitter for this second round tonight. Jeff Jacobs from the pro category is going to be on the outside of row
The
one.
widest
Behind them-
BMW in the business.
Yep, behind them, you should have Zach Mosley on the inside, Kevin Carlisle on the outside. Row 3 should be Neil Weston and Chase West. Row 4 will be your top 2 finishers, Lucas Dragotta from AM and Mariano Barrios from Pro. Behind them will be Andre Wedderburn and John Casey, Chad Sebring and Chuck Labano, Greg Brockway, Russ Ruddock, Stephen May, David Klimovich, and at the back, Robert Schwenkler had all those issues in that first race.
Yeah.
Didn't get to the transfer spot. He's going to have to do it all on his own merit in the next 30 minutes.
It's going to be a tough 30 minutes. I think a tough 60 minutes overall for Robert Schwenkler. Just just what one spin can do for you early on, as he was in that top 3 and went around, and now for the second race in a row, he's going to have to be able to put on one heck of a recovery drive.
Yeah. Well, big opportunity, I think, here for Zach Mosley, starting up on the second row of this race. Comes in tonight, 3rd in the AM points, about 20 points or so behind Chuck Labano, who's starting behind him. He's got Lucas Dragotta, your points leader, behind him by a couple of rows. Good opportunity here for Mosley, who had issues in that first race as well. You can see there in that red, blue, and black Mercedes. See if he can get off to a good start, maybe score some good points.
And some of the drivers here wisely, Larry, I think, trying to scrub their tires in, trying to get a little bit of heat in the equipment, as they have I think a pretty good body of work from race number 1 to know what it's like if you go into the first couple corners with cold tires. We saw what turn number 8, that steady state left-hander, can do to the rear end of some of these cars, and how they just like to walk around on them. So the more heat they can get in the tires early on here for the very first lap, the better.
Yes, absolutely. We saw a couple of cars struggle with that in the first lap the last time. Maybe that lesson's finally been learned. You can see them packing up right now here in the GT4s. We know that our LMP3s up in front are already doing that. They'll get the green flag first. We are still coming into turn 14 here.
14.
This little hairpin, a couple of hairpins on this track. It's got some digs.
All right, through 15, and now through the final corner, 16 to put him on the front straight. Looked like the outside lane there, Larry, led by Travis Schwenke, might have run a little wide.
Doesn't want to get contact before we even get to go green.
No.
But it's going to be Josh Vidal leading the way here on the inside line when they get to the front straightaway. One more little corner to go. That turn 16 there, just past pit in. They'll get the inside line. We'll see if Schwenke slots in, or see if Schwenke tries to do what Leo Dragotta did tried to do the first race, which was to make the move on the pole setter. Keep your eyes. How's it going to go?
All right, green flag is in the air, and we are racing once again here from Misano as our pole sitters, Josh Vidal, Trev Schwenke, head in the one. Oh, and going around, that is Robert Hartley.
And that's Dragotta.
Yeah, it looked like everything that they did in the first race, Larry, where they didn't run wide. Bailey Petrowski through the gravel there. And then finally, I believe that is...
That's the GT4 field is what that is right behind.
Yeah, the entire GT4 field. And Larry... Eric Violet now up to 6th place in LMP3.
Yeah.
Oh, and going around is the Lucas Dragotta goes around.
Big impact.
And he gets collected by Greg Brockway, the 62 machine, the Frito Sport Mercedes.
Such a good run for Lucas in the first race. Ends early, potentially, at Brockway. Looks like his night might be done. Big contact there. Let's go back to LMP3 while we get the replays
so much
queued up.
wrap here, Larry.
Yeah, let's just see what's going on now at the top recap. Schwenke does take the lead now over Vidal. Let's go back and take a look at the first replay. This is the start of the race, so there's the 3 Orions, row 1, row 2. But I'm going to be taking a look at that second row. Look, it starts on the outside with Dam, and on the inside separately with Hartley.
Yeah, I was going to say on the outside, it looked like Dam might have gotten into the back of Travis Schwenke briefly. Didn't affect the Schwenke car, but Dam got very loose and went around. And then you saw Robert Hartley on the inside lane.
Same thing. I think he touched the back of Vidal, and that caused it. But let's take a look now at the GT4 start, as they are now into that opening chicane move, going around turn 3 and 4, and that's a Lucas Dragotta.
He just lost it.
Solo spin, and look at Brockway, nowhere to go. Gets into him. They get double tagged, And at least Brockway's out. Lucas, I think, is still limping around out there, but probably has some damage.
Indeed, there's Brockway's in the pits, and
Looks
Lucas
like the
Dragotta
replay
now
there.
sitting dead last in AM
Yeah.
after having started off the winning race. Oh,
Brockway, so that's what it was. Brockway was in the battle there with Russ Ruddock and didn't have anywhere to go. He would have had to like slam on the brakes, but he couldn't move left because he had that BMW there.
well, and he had cars behind him too.
Yeah. Oh, just tough place to find himself. All right, let's take a look now back at the live look in at the LMP3. That is Dragotta. Oh, sorry, that's Mike Dam in the 93. He's in third. Remember, he contacted the back of Schwenke on
And
the
went off
opening
wide
corner,
at turn 1, yeah.
and he's all the way up to third. Schwenke's in the lead. Vidal's right there. That's Eric Violette right behind him, I think.
That is yes. That Eric Violette now sitting in 9th position, and Larry. So the dream race from Eric Violette, much to his wife's chagrin, may be over as he fell from 6th back to 9th position. Bailey Petrowski though now back up into 6th.
Yeah, this chaotic fun. This is the GT4 field. You can see the one pro driver in there. That is Kevin Carlisle trying to get off to a better race here than he finished the last one with. He's already up to 2nd. He started.
He got around our pro, who was our pro leader. That was Jeff Jacobs, who was running 2nd in GT4.
And he just took the lead, got to the inside of Maxwell. Kevin Carlisle, I think, now to the top of the order at GT4s.
Yeah, there you go. And so looking for a little redemption after race number 1, taking a look to the inside.
Yeah.
Zach Mosley trying to come underneath Jeff Jacobs, and he's got Mariano Barrios just kind of pushing him along.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, good moves there. Good line to hold there for Jeff Jacobs. He's alongside Barrios now. But Mosley, like I said, needs this opportunity. He would love to get the lead here in AM past Dale Maxwell. I don't think it's going to happen on this straightaway, but maybe if he can outbreak him into 1, they're going to try it. There goes Mosley down the inside. He got it.
There you go. Great move there from Zach Mosley. And we just saw there Jeff Jacobs had to hold off Neil Weston from HTPK going into turn 1. Jacobs pushed, didn't touch him, just positioned the car well enough to make the Porsche really take the long way around turn number 1. And so Weston right now, he is running in 7th position. Let's try that again. He's running in 6th position in GT4 overall.
He would love to get around Jacobs, but we know that's always a tall order. Jeff did a good job of holding his line through a lot of these difficult corners. Up in front of them, though, Mariano Barrios, your round 1 winner tonight, has got himself up right into that 4th spot in this running. He's trying to pressure the back of Maxwell. In fact, Barrios might have just gotten around Maxwell right in front of him. He just
did. Yep.
Yeah, so
laid on the brakes and was able to come right underneath.
Yep, there he is.
Maxwell.
His next target will be Zach Mosley. Mosley, of course, wants to hold that position. But let's take a look at this replay here as we go on board with Barrios. There's the 111 of Maxwell right in front of him. Barrios with a good exit of the prior corner.
And you can see he sets up the pass very early there, Larry. Late on the brakes, comes right underneath the other car.
Beautiful work there in that McLaren for Mariano Barrios. Let's see now, what does Zach Mosley do? Zach Mosley would love to get this high 2nd place points here in GT4. Doesn't want to give that up. Meanwhile, Barrios would love to make a little bit of ground and try and get up to pressure Carlisle for the overall lead. So let's got to keep our eyes on this the next couple of minutes. Or we can look at chaos in LMP3s.
That's Leo Dragotta going around, Larry, and it looks like Josh Vidal might have been involved in some way. Vidal getting around Leo Dragotta.
Well, here's that pack you were talking about. There's Vidal. There, looks like on the outside. That's Mike Dam. I think Vidal by himself starts this.
Yeah, Vidal goes around, and Leo Dragotta basically just didn't have anywhere to go. He was just trying to avoid the spinning car there and had to go almost to a complete stop and still had a little bit of contact there. And so both racers impacted. They're now running 5th and 6th, respectively.
And the brakes in these cars are very difficult to drive. They're definitely not anti-lock brakes. The cars move around a bunch. It's tough. Well, let's check in here with Schwenkler. Again, started this race the back of the field of GT4s. He's got Klimovich right behind him. And they're right behind Chad Sebring in that Mercedes. Look at the pack right up in front of them, which includes Jeff Jacobs as well as a few others. Schwenkler going to use this all the way to the inside.
Oh, wow.
What a move that was. Right down there. Look at him passing Sebring there. Now he's got John Casey and Chuck Labano out in front of him. He's got pace. Can he use the brakes in the McLaren tonight? Oh, that's a
going
slide.
around. That's Labano, Larry. Is Chuck Labano now has the rear end step out on him, and unlike
And
the Klim Club. And just as I'm speaking, and at the same corner that we saw in race 1, Larry, is Klimovich lost the rear end again, and he ran wide, just didn't take up all the gravel.
He might have been, again, trying to avoid the sliding Labano in front of him. May have avoided contact this time, at least for his own sake. Labano did recover quickly in front of them, but let's take a look at the replay. Labano coming up quickly there through these corners and loses it on his own.
Yeah, everybody checks up.
Klimovich goes to the left, I guess, right in that, somewhere in there. No contact, it didn't look like.
Yeah, we'll see that. I mean, big accordion effect there, Larry. Let's see what Klimovich did if he checked up. No, he just started to run wide on his own. We saw he missed the apex by a bit. The rear end just started to walk on him.
He might have seen a little of what was going on in front of him.
Maybe he let out of the throttle a little bit.
Yeah, he may have just sort of reacted to what he was seeing. But let's take a look at your round 1 winner tonight, Billy Petrowski.
Now
started
the
this
third.
in 5th. Yeah. So now the challenge is in the hands of Travis Schwenke and Mike Dam out in front of those 2 Orion drivers. Bailey is going to have to lay down some laps here to get there. Well, he's got Aaron Beaver right behind him.
Yeah, and Larry, on the last lap, Petrowski laid down a 132.5. He was a full second faster than either Travis Schwenke or Mike Dam. You know, again, we saw that in race 1 as well. He just has much faster pace than the 3 Orion drivers.
Well, it's going to get interesting if he can catch to first to Mike Dam and then to Travis Schwenke, because as they always say, it's one thing to catch him, it's another to pass. Speaking of catching and possibly passing, here's Dale Maxwell and Zach Mosley fighting for the lead in AM. These 2 similar Mercedes. Mariano Barrios, you notice, is no longer behind either of them. He has made his way around all of them. He's going to try and chase down Kevin Carlisle.
Yep, and the interval of the gap between them now, Barrios about 1.3 seconds back. There you go. As we watch Mosley and Maxwell directly behind Mariano Barrios.
Things getting tight at the front as Mike Dam is taking the lead over Travis Schwenke. Let's see how. It's Travis, number 16, all by himself. Oh, that little twitch is going to cost him about 5 seconds and the lead as Mike Dam, his teammate, goes under, and here comes Petrowski lurking.
And that high-speed corner, that's what, over at 12 and 13.
Yep.
Just, it seems to be catching everybody out today.
Yeah, you come out at 10, which is a hairpin. You got the first kink at 11, and then it's another small kink at 12, and then it tightens up at 13. But you don't really, nail the brakes hard until you're all the way down into 14, the hairpin. So you have to balance the car around these various kinks and control those speeds. And it's pretty tough. These LMP3 cars, when they start moving weight around, they get all kinds of loose. But, speaking of a pack, that's a big one.
Oh, no. Russ Ruddock goes around, and Larry, it looked like he had some help. The question is, which Mercedes was it that helped him?
Rough go there for Ruddock. Yeah, we'll queue up a replay here in just a second. As Ruddock calls in the tow. Let's look at the replay here.
There were a lot of Mercedeses there, Larry, and all right, we see there's the Aerokinetics car that goes
Chase
around
West.
him. Oh.
Yeah, there's just so much contact, so many cars in such little space. It was going to end in tears at some point. Unfortunately, it's Russ Ruddock's turn to call in the tow. Well, let's take a look at the lead now in LMP3. Yeah, that's Travis Schwenke back on top over Mike Dam. And look, here comes the D2D driver, Billy Petrowski.
Just stalking, Larry. He's just stalking. And they're behind so much GT4 traffic. As a matter of fact, there's the Aerokinetics car there from Chase West, and right into that pack that we saw just a few moments ago. They're going to have to try and squeeze through.
Yeah, this is the exact pack that we saw that spin there for Russ Ruddock. How clean can the LMP3 make it through with these GT4s? This is not going to be pretty, but a lot of things happening. Travis Schwenke's through. Mike Dam, he's got one more to go. That's Chuck Lovano. Dam is through. What about Petrowski? He's got to get around Lovano.
Andre Wedderburn.
Sorry, Andre.
Sorry, Andre.
They do make it through clean. All right, now the pressure's on Mike Dam to hold off Bailey Petrowski as long as he can. If nothing else, help his teammate maybe build some gap here.
Yeah, and Larry, it looks like the never-ending conga line of traffic here as they make their way around. I think that was Chad Sebring that they just went. Oh, there's Sebring. Actually.
That's Sebring right there, which means John Casey's next and Andre Wedderburn, the blue and the red Mercedes both are up there in front of him. Oh, look at this. Mike Dam, Deputy can hold off Petrowski.
I think that might be over now.
Yeah, he didn't get to the inside to protect. He runs wide there at the final corner. Petrowski now in the second spot. Jeff Jacobs.
Oh,
you hold your breath every time you see this, don't you?
yeah.
More traffic. All right, this is the John Casey, Andre Wedderburn. First, it's going to be Casey. Hold in the middle of the track. Petrowski trying to find a clean pass. Does he have one? He does. Wedderburn.
Got him in a straight line, Larry. Best place you can.
Yep. Mike Dam gets in front as well of Wedderburn, but then he runs wide. See that lockup?
Yes.
Brakes are so tough in these LMP3s. Well, they do make it through unscathed. What about behind them? What about Rob Hartley and Josh Vidal as they're making their way through the same pack now a couple of corners later? Easy on anybody right now, whether you're the fast or the slow car going through this stuff. Hit his head on a swivel. Oh boy, that's close.
Oh no.
That's
And
hardly.
Larry, we're only halfway through this race. Still another about 16 minutes to go.
Oh, this is just crazy stuff. Vidal, who obviously started this race on the pole here in the second race tonight and had some issues there on the opening lap as well as some slide. Is he going to get to the inside of Hartley? He does.
I think he does.
Oh, no,
contact.
No, there goes John
as Vidal
Casey.
goes around and Vidal gets into the side of John Casey. Oh, my.
Wow. 3 cars occupying one spot does not work out for any of them. That was, yeah. That's pretty much the story of tonight's race. No matter what, there's a battle going on with traffic. Let's look at the replay, see how it goes.
Contact.
Hartley moves over early.
Yeah, I thought that I saw Hartley try to take a peek to the inside, and he tapped the rear end of Josh Vidal, and you gotta feel for John Casey there. He did nothing wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. Casey's he's the innocent bystander there, and Vidal, unfortunately, also I think probably deserved some more space there before Hartley came over. A very a rare move there for Hartley in that mistake. Good little battle here. This is Chase West and Stephen May in that McLaren, West in the Mercedes.
Yeah, nice. After watching the last couple of sequences, Larry, it was nice to say, nice clean pass by Chase West on Stephen May.
Well, they don't have any LMP3s to fight with yet, although
Very
I do
true.
see Josh Vidal coming.
Yeah, here he comes. All right, let's do this, Larry. Let's jump behind the helmet, or maybe behind the viewfinder of Hartley.
Boy. I think he just expected Vidal to be further left, and frankly, he wasn't. And good for Vidal to hold that line. He shouldn't give up that space. He should use the GT4 as a pick. That's what it's there for. Hartley there, unfortunately, I think the mistake we'll see the stewards feel the same.
And Larry, here it is. It is time. Bailey Petrowski has worked his way up to the back of Travis Schwenke, our leader. Is he going to make quick use of this? Yeah, look at this. As he's going to hold Schwenke all the way to the outside. And just like that, Bailey Petrowski
Well,
well, maybe not. I
not
guess
over
I'm
yet.
speaking too early.
Schwenke's a veteran. He knows how to hold the line through sequential corners, and he does. Can he dive over now and hold the position? He does. Look at Schwenke. Crafty. Let's see what this does to Mike Dam, who's just about a second or so back. As these two battle, Schwenke may have left the door open. They're going down towards 14, I think, at this point.
Yeah, this is through 12 and 13.
Oh, and a bit of
then
lock
into the
up
hairpin
corner.
at 14. Yep.
That may have hurt Schwenke there. Yep. That's going to give the lead to Petrowski. Mike Dam, though, right there behind Schwenke. Not for seconds, not over, but Bailey Petrowski. You can see there the car control through the tightest corner on the track down there at 14 was able to hold the inside line without nearly a twitch. Schwenke on the outside. A little bit of lockup caused him to lose all the momentum and give up this. Good racing, though. That was good, clean racing on both sides. If at all there's traffic that maybe comes back to help Travis Schwenke, if not, that might have been it in LMP3. We'll have to see, at least for the lead, as Mike Dam now gets the pressure for second place. But Zach Mosley now, Josh Vidal, shouldn't be this close through the corners. The LMP3 shouldn't be admitted.
No, that the GT4 Mercedes not dealing with the same amount of downforce that the LMP3 is. But
speaking of Josh Vidal, he was in the incident there with Rob Hartley coming into him. Stewards did assign a penalty, drive-through penalty for Robert Hartley in the number 3. So a little consolation prize for Josh Vidal on that one.
Yeah, and we are seeing that Hartley now in the pits after finally getting that tow. He may not have the car have repairs done in time to do that drive-through penalty. He may just be stuck there, Larry. As we see here, Chuck Labano trying to find his way back up through the field after his early mishaps, and he again having to deal with some of the LMP3 traffic, like our leader Bailey Petrowski working through, but he's got Chad Sebring directly ahead of him. That would be a battle for 6th and AM. And
they've got a Eric Violet coming through as well in his handicapped pace tonight. Eric doing a pretty good job considering the situation and keeping that car rolling. His next car to pass is going to be the Andre Wedderburn.
I keep hearing Taco singing "Putting on the Ritz" right as Violet comes through.
I hear that song.
Yes.
All I can think of is the monster Young Frankenstein. Peter Boyle does the best version of that song, if you ask me. Gene Wilder. All the young kids are like, what are you talking about? Oh, the greatest movie ever made. All right, back to action here. This is Klimovich and Stephen May battling for 8th and AM. It's advantage to Stephen May right now, but Klimovich has had the better overall pace. He's on that recovery from the earlier spins that we saw. Can he make this move coming down into turn 4?
Yeah, car looks like it's handling very well there, Larry, and we'll see here how well of a defensive game Stephen May can put up. Oh, look at that. Klimovich can just get that Porsche to turn almost on a dime.
Yep, and there it is, sequence of corners there. You saw offline a little bit from May in both of the right-handers at 4 and 5, and they got the 6. Good job of the late apex for the 21 at Klimovich. I think he's made that pass going into 8.
Apparently, Stubby concurs, Larry, about Young Frankenstein being one of the greatest movies of all time, although I might lean towards Blazing Saddles, but that's just me.
Different sides of the coin, but both great.
Just call me Mongo. All right.
Oh no! Mike Dam skipping, sliding. He's looking for his dimes to get through the toll booth. It's not there. He's going to have to go back and get them. He's going to lose a spot there.
Dimes or loonies, Larry.
All right, so Mike Dam now losing his spot. Leo Jagoda taking over there. But Klimovich still trying to hold off Stephen May back here in the 8th position in AM. Then we get to this little fight. Wedderburn, Jacobs, Sebring. Then right behind them, Labano and West. This is the battle for a couple of fourths. You got Wedderburn fourth in AM. You got Jeff Jacobs fourth in Pro. Sebring
Chad
fifth in
Sebring,
AM.
who doesn't care who he gets to pass. He's fifth in something now.
he's going to pass somebody's fourth.
That's right.
Yeah, the well-known BMW of the, as our director John says, the widest car in all of the Ricmotech series. Jeff Jacobs. No matter which car it is, it's the wide one.
It could be a BMW, could be a Mercedes. Doesn't really matter. As we've got less than 8
Could be a
minutes
Subaru
remaining.
BRZ, but that's a reference you'll have to get out and see it on autocross somewhere.
Oh gosh.
Jeff, though, he's on the aggressive side here. He's trying to make the move on Wedderburn. Wedderburn doing a good job of holding his line in the Mercedes. Whole pack of Mercedes here with that one lone BMW of Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs taking the inside of the first kink.
Oh,
he's
thinking about it.
Yeah, they're going to come down here to turn 14 in a second. Who can get on the binders?
Well, you know, as much as we talk about Jeff Jacobs being a tough passer, I think we found that Wedderburn might be a little bit tougher pass, and he will not give an inch.
So somewhere here between the battle of Jeff Jacobs and Andre Wedderburn is the rock and hard place comparison. Somewhere,
Yes.
someone's got to win out.
Yes. And it just might be Chad Sebring behind.
Movable object, unstoppable force. Yeah, something like that. And now it's Wedderburn taking slightly different lines through that 1-2 chicane.
Oh,
Look
Chuck
at Jacobs.
Lopano. Chuck Lopano gets around Chad Sebring
Yeah.
as Sebring got caught watching what was going on ahead of him.
Look at this line that Wedderburn takes. A really deep line there around 4 and 5. Jacobs tried to undercut him. It isn't there. That's going to cause him down this straightaway here between 6 down to 8. Look at Wedderburn now, about a couple of car lengths. Lopano going to make the move on Jeff Jacobs.
And can't get it done. And I was going to say, Larry, that as we have Wedderburn take that really deep entry into the corner, it leaves Jeff Jacobs in a position where he's got to get the car to rotate to an angle that BMW just does not want to go, and he can't dig out of the corners. I mean, I don't know if it's something that Wedderburn, you know, is imagining as being a real defensive move, but it's working to great effect.
It's interesting to watch the two of them because they clearly have different philosophies of lines in the corner. Jeff Jacobs is, well, he's an autocrosser. He's taking shortest distance between the double apex 4 or 5 and then getting to 6 and kind of using, again, shortest distance. Whereas what Wedderburn is doing is he's trying to get the super late apex on 6 and get the straightaway speeds down.
And just straighten the car up and go. Yeah.
But to do it, he's diamonding off, as we call it, between 4 and 5, driving deep past 4, getting the late apex on 5, sets himself up to late apex on 6. The problem is it may leave the door open. What he needs to probably do is a short distance 4 and 5 and then hug the curb really slow late apex on 5.
Oh.
But it may not matter because here we go into 1. And it's going to be Lopano now going to be trying all the moves on both of the impossible drivers to pass.
As Wedderburn gets loose, I don't know if he got a tap there from Jeff Jacobs.
Yep.
But Larry, as we saw there going into 1, as Jacobs was tucking in behind Wedderburn, he then tried to open up the corner, came right across the nose of Lopano and didn't have much of any clearance there.
Yeah.
But so manages to hold off the the Mercedes for a moment.
Well, here we go again, though. That little bit of battling that you were talking about through the 2-3 complex into 4, again, leaves Jeff Jacobs with slow exit speed of 6. Lopano not able to get fast enough. Look how nice and tidy Lopano is through some of these tighter corners. Just know where to go with it. But Jacobs gets a good exit now with the right back up on the back of Wedderburn. All three of these guys have very different lines. Look at that right there. Very different lines on all three of them.
And Lopano almost as late an entry as we see Wedderburn taking. And I think what he's hoping for here, Larry, is that Jeff Jacobs in trying to take that shortest distance and maybe turning in a little bit early, that Jacobs does get loose and can't get the power down.
And there's that shortest distance as well. And you got race leader Bailey Petrowski trying to duck underneath him in his LMP3 to get out of this battle, this fray. And he's going to do just that. But again, as they go through another one of these hairpins, this one down to 14, different lines. Does Wedderburn get defensive now, going around 15 towards 16? He needs to quite yet.
it's coming down to it, Larry. We've got now just a touch over 3 minutes remaining here, and Petrowski.
This has to end?
Yes, unfortunately, it must, Larry. As Bailey Petrowski once again into the 32.5s. Even with all the traffic, he's continuing to reset fast lap.
Well, Chuck Labano now under pressure from Chad Sabrin behind. And Wedderburn again taking different lines, but look at this. That is Travis Schwenke, who currently is in second in the race. He's trying to get through this pack. Good luck, Travis.
Good luck with that.
Labano up to the back of Jeff Jacobs again. Travis Schwenke, tread lightly. Going to get past one of them.
And Larry, looks like Chad Seburn's given up another position as Chase West from Air Kinetics gets around him.
Yeah. Good job for Chase to get up into the 6th spot there in AM category. Schwenke manages to get through, and then it's going to be Leo Dragota's turn to do the same. He gets around to Klimovich, who's back there right now in 8th in AM. And he's got to get through the same pack we just watched his teammate Travis Schwenke get through. So you got Wedderburn, Jacobs, Labano, now West, then Sebring. And you've got the lapping Leo Dragota to try and get through this train.
All right, so Petrowski now comes across the line. We're about to come across the line to complete lap number 18. And Larry, I think we'll probably have 2 more laps remaining here for Bailey Petrowski.
All right, his lead right now up over 10 seconds over Schwenke, and then a couple seconds to Dragota, and then a couple more back to Mike Dam. So Petrowski's got to just get around here one more time. We'll let him do his thing while this train goes. And look at this. Again, Wedderburn trying to be defensive. Jacobs got a good run. Dragota gets
flashing
through.
the headlights like it matters.
Yeah. Anything he can. No one's looking at headlights right now.
No, nobody's
look
looking
at this
him.
accordion. That was Wedderburn getting a little bit squirrely there through 2, the left-hander.
Yeah, and stacked 3 cars up directly behind him.
Well, let's watch these line differences. How deep does Labano go? He goes deeper than Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs, again, compromised exit right here at turn 6. Wedderburn still holding that position up there. Labano not able to capitalize on the different lines that Jeff Jacobs takes, but I tell you what, Labano better look out. He's got to chase West.
I was just going to say, Labano's got to worry about Chase West behind him.
Look at Chase doing a great job there, pushing Labano around. I think we're going to get one more lap of these guys after this.
Yeah, we should have at least one more.
Then he'll get passed by Bailey Petrowski in the meantime, because Bailey's about to get white flag.
Bailey is coming onto the front straight here. There he is, and now he should be getting the white flag, Larry, as we've got 5 seconds remaining on the clock. So last lap here for our leader, and it's going to be one last lap for these GT4 shenanigans as well.
Look at West in the 757. He's alongside of Chuck Labano on the outside as they come around 14 and 15, then just towards 16. West continues to try and push. There he is. There's the 199 right behind Chad Sebring.
Chad Sebring goes around. That's going to move Klimovich up 1 position.
Oh, that looked like contact between them.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that works out. Quick replay, and then we'll get back to the action as the 2 of them coming up on a turn 16. Klimovich,
you know what?
A little bobble there, I think. Sebring.
Yeah, Sebring lost a lot of momentum just past the apex.
I have a hard time holding that one too much on the hands of Klimovich, considering the bobble in front of him. But let's take a look. Speaking of all this, that's Jeff Jacobs now ahead of Andre Wedderburn.
He gets around, and did West get around Labano? No, he did not.
Yeah. All right, well, here's the pass. This is going into 1 here to start the white flag lap. Jacob sets up wide. Wedderburn goes defensive down the inside. He's just too slow down the inside. Great run for Jeff Jacobs. Muscling his way through 2 into 3. We'll see how long this can last. Look at that.
And a little bit of a tap there is trying to loosen up Jacobs a little bit. All right, here comes Bailey Petrowski across the line. He takes the win for race number 2. 2 in a row. Let's go back.
Yeah. So Labano now to the inside of Wedderburn. They might go 3 wide down here into 14.
Oh, make that
and look
4
at West.
with West there as well.
Yeah,
All right,
West
and
is right in
Lobano
this.
is through on Wedderburn.
Oh,
West
there's
drew
contact.
to the inside.
Yeah,
And
Wedderburn got
Lobano
into
gets
Lobano.
pushed wide, and West into the back of Wedderburn. Wedderburn gets pushed back now into 6th position at AM.
Goodness. Good luck, Stewart, sorting this one out. There was
That's right.
contact among everybody. Going into the final corner, Lobano runs wide. West to the inside. He's got the position, but does Lobano have momentum to hold off Wedderburn? I think he did.
I think right at the line, yes, indeed. So in GT4, Kevin Carlisle, hate to say it, or not hate to say it, surprised to say, quiet race for Kevin Carlisle. Mariano Barrios second. Zach Mosley from Frito Sport takes the win, and AM finishes 3rd in GT4. Then we've got Dale Maxwell, who finishes 2nd in AM, 4th in GT4. Robert Schwenkler, and Larry, weren't we talking about Robert Schwenkler, who had to start from the very back of the GT4 field and how he had to have a heck of a recovery drive? He finishes 3rd in pro, finishes 5th overall, and then it's Neil Weston, and then Jeff Jacobs, and that nut job race that we just saw. Chase West from Aerokinetics finishes 4th in AM, ahead of Andre Wedderburn. Then it's Chuck Lobano. Then it's David Klimovich and Chad Sebring. We'll have to see if there's any kind of penalty that comes up post-race from that incident between those two racers. Then Stephen May, John Casey.
Yeah, keep in mind, Chase West started that last lap, a couple of spots down, was able to get up there and take that 4th in AM. Crazy stuff. The stewards are going to take a look at those couple of incidents, see if there's anything. They did give a 10-second post-race to Klimovich for the incident that he was involved with the one that had Chad Sebring a couple laps earlier.
Okay.
As Klimovich now is pushing the Mercedes around to probably get back up to
Somebody's out of fuel. Oh my, there we go. Either that or he's just going to drive him into a wall. All right, Larry, let's do this. Let's take a final break. Thanks to our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here tonight from Misano, where you've just watched round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Misano World Circuit. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. We've just seen round number 6, our second race tonight. Second 30-minute sprint race for round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series here on Apex Racing TV. John, can we bring up the finishing order there? There we go. Almost like he read my mind. Bailey Petrowski taking his second win of the night here in LMP3, with Travis Schwenke from Orion finishing second, Leo Dragotta finishing in third. In GT4, Kevin Carlisle taking the win here. A little bit of redemption after Mariano Barrios took race 1 this evening. They swap positions. Robert Schwenkler comes home third in Pro, with Zach Mosley taking the win in AM. Dale Maxwell finishing in second, and finishing third, Neil Weston. All right, so Larry, we've got a number of racers sitting in the green room waiting for us. Let's do this. Why don't we bring in our GT4 AM winner from race number 2. It is Zach Mosley, Frito Sport racer, driving the number 37 Mercedes. Let's bring him on in.
All right, Zach Mosley joining us here. We got the win in AM here in the second of our 2 rounds. But Zach, we were actually mentioning you at the start of that second round as a good opportunity in that race because your starting position. Did you recognize that at the time and think this could be your moment to try and grab the second round win?
Yes. I do want to apologize to Jeff. I did send it a little aggressively into the last hairpin. Everybody knows Jeff's BMW is yellow because it is a roadblock and like a school bus, and you can't pass the thing.
we all know it's the widest car in any sim he's in.
Yes.
But yeah, a great run there in that second race, really to hold that position up there and make sure that you got the win. The first race was interesting, to say the least. You seem to be involved with a couple of things there. Is that just... Was it tonight, just the 2 sprint format? Was everybody a little bit aggressive, everybody a little bit tense to start that first race?
Yes and no. Unfortunately, there were multiple factors that did play into it. One is Kevin wanting us to drive on the surface of the sun. That may have been one of the hottest track surfaces I'd ever been on.
It's only 104 degrees right now.
Only. It was 130 in practice. So,
gosh.
Like, we were just talking in the waiting room. Bailey was like, man, we're at 60% brake pressure and we can't get the car stopped. I'm at max wing on the Merc and coming out of corners in the back end, still trying to do a 2-step. Like, it was just chaos.
Made for a great show from where we were sitting. We always had something to talk about. The opening of the race, we couldn't even keep up with all the different incidents going on. And the second race, fantastic stuff going on. But for you, huge opportunity tonight. You come into tonight third in points, trailing behind Chuck Labano and Lucas Dragotta. But you were able to get ahead of them in that second race and really kind of put your stamp on it. So are you already starting to run the numbers on the points? You know what you need now in the next 2 rounds?
Not yet. To be 100% honest, Lucas should have won the second race too. The kid has crazy pace. Mm-hmm. To be the age he is, the ability he has is mind-blowing, and I pray that kid gets a seat in an actual car. Unfortunately, he had some bad luck. I had no clue it was Lucas that had spun at the start of race 2 until my teammate Greg was like, man, I had nowhere to go, just drove into him.
Yeah.
So at that point, I kind of realized, hey, there's a lot of room to make up here. That's why I didn't fight Kevin too hard. Kevin's my ginger brother. We're both redheads. I knew once Kevin was past me, that was the end of that one. Like, have fun at the sunset. The same with Mariano. They're both ridiculously quick. So Dale, I got to give a shout out to Dale Maxwell. He definitely surprised me tonight. I definitely thought Dale was going to beat me. And if we had to run another lap, I was out of fuel. So, like, I ran out crossing the start-finish line. So if we go any more, I'll lose it anyways.
Yeah, well, that's about perfect then, right? The crew chief did his job tonight. You finished with just enough fuel to get across the finish line and see that checkered flag. So awesome stuff there. But yeah, you were in the fight here, right here, as we get into the last third, the last quarter of the season. It's going to be a fun finish here in GT4 AM, but I'm sure you got some folks that you want to give a shout out and thanks to for helping you get the win tonight.
As always, Frito Sport, it's a good group of guys. We try to work together as much in practice throughout the week. It is a little hard to get everybody's schedule together, but we do try to bounce setups off of each other. On a setup note, I do want to give a shout out to VRS. I don't know why. Their stuff suits me, and that's what I use week in and week out. My wife, as always, for dealing with my rage moments and trying to figure out how to drive the car. Y'all, I mean, again, it's going to be an amazing broadcast. It is every week. So,
well, awesome job tonight getting that win for Freedom Sport Racing and GT4 AM, Zach Mosley. Nice
thanks,
job.
guys.
All right, there you go, Zach Mosley. And Larry, the points have already been updated. Thank God for long interviews. In GT4AM, Lucas Dragota, your current points leader with 325 points. Zach Mosley, 16 points back from there for Frito Sport. He is second in the championship. His teammate, Chuck Lobano, third in the championship, another 11 points back from there. All right, let's move over now to, tell you what, let's talk to our LMP3 double winner tonight. Seems like we've got a lot of time talking to our winner. If it weren't for the fact that we know he plays guitar on the side, I'd say he's like a real rock star. Let's bring in driver the number 115 Ligier LMP3 machine from D2D Sim Racing, Bailey Petrowski.
All right, Bailey, getting the wins both rounds tonight. But let's talk about Watkins Glen. No, let's not talk about Watkins Glen. Let's talk about tonight. Getting back in.
I prefer not to.
Your round one tonight, the first 30 minutes looked like 30 minutes of qualifying for you. You just laid it down and just checked up. That second race, boy, that start, just complete wild card got thrown in and chaos went crazy. What were you saw it all happening in front of you. Were you just out that point trying to survive and not get caught in it?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it, see if I could have done something different, because there's a car spinning on my right that was side by side with a car on my left. I was trying to give room. I don't know who I clipped in the end, but yeah, it happens. Kind of, I think, wrong place, wrong time. But overall, I wasn't expecting to come back and fight for the lead so quickly. Like, I knew my pace was a lot quicker, but it felt like a lot of people were having a lot of issues and kind of were handing me positions, so I was just carving my way through and caught so much quicker than I would have ever expected.
Yeah, well, Travis put up a really good fight when he did finally get up there. That was a lot of fun to watch the two of you side by side through a couple of corners doing that. But what I could tell was you just have such good car control. You ended up getting him, I think it was down through 14, and the car got a little wobbly, and maybe he even had a little bit of brake lockup. But what I'm wondering is that down to just your knowledge and your abilities with this car, perhaps set up? Because we're talking to a couple of people about the heat of this track tonight. Did that seem to affect you at all, or maybe not as much as the other guys?
It was definitely affecting me. I think I figured it out pretty early on, what to do differently. I did have to take some different lines, and a lot of it just came down to what I was doing with the pedals, like throttle and braking. It was actually getting to a point where the car was so likely to spin or wanted to spin so much, I was trying to force the car to understeer to try and avoid that. But I think, at least when I was talking with some others, it feels like this track is just all about throttle control. I don't know if that's my main key factor of why I'm quicker than a lot of the guys in this series, but I every time I've raced here, it was same in the World Challenge. When I came here, I was quite dominant compared to everyone, and the pace was just, no one could really compare. But the heat was definitely an issue, but at least it made the car very difficult to control later in the stint, and I was constantly turning up the traction control, and I don't think I had a single lap where I wasn't losing the rear. So it's definitely a fight, but I felt comfortable enough in it.
Yeah, well, you made it look very easy, watching your competitors, the rest of this field, continue to struggle lap after lap and keeping their car controlled, and you're just out there setting qualifying times. It was impressive to watch. Absolutely impressive display of car control throughout the night. And the payoff is you get wins in both the first round 30 minutes as well as the second 30 minutes tonight. So awesome job there. But I know that it's not a lone effort there for you. You got a team and some others that help you out along the way.
Yeah, always want to thank the team, even though most of them weren't here to really make it to this race. But still good practice time with them, and I talk with them a lot, and we work together a lot, and it's always great working with them. I do want to thank Travis for putting up a great, clean battle with me towards the end. think we were both pushing pretty hard and both fighting pretty hard, but it is still very clean, so it was very enjoyable. I do want to thank friends and family for supporting me with all of this. Thank you guys for commentating on these races. Thanks for everyone watching these races as well. And thank you to all sponsors of the series, sponsors for our team. And yeah, I think that's everyone I would thank.
Awesome job tonight. Bailey Petrowski back on form with a win in both of these 2-half sprint races tonight for D2D Sim Racing. Congrats, Bailey.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
All right, there you go. Bailey Petrowski, your winner, double winner tonight here in LMP3. And Larry, as we mentioned, the points have been updated. Petrowski, not a big surprise to anybody, is your points leader. He's got now went from what was a 20-point advantage coming into the evening, now a 35-point advantage, it used to be, over his teammate Eric Violette. However, Travis Schwenke leapfrogs Violette to move up to second in the championship. So congratulations to Bailey. Let's move over now to GT4 Pro. And Larry, we've got, I think, 2 racers we're going to bring in and talk to. We're going to flip a coin. And I call heads. So let's bring in SimCity Racing's Kevin Carlisle. He took the win here tonight in race number 2. Driver of the number 72 machine. Let's talk to him.
Well, yeah, Kevin Carlisle here. Kevin got the win here in the second race. A pretty good margin in that win there. But so let's talk a little bit about that first one, Kevin. The second race first is getting through that field a little bit. It looked a little chaotic at the start of this thing with a couple of the AM drivers in front of you. What was your strategy there? Was it just to keep an eye on Mariano behind you, or what were you trying to pick your way through that traffic?
I was really just trying to keep my eyes forward. I did not want to get impatient with people in front of me. I didn't know their line specifically, but I just paid attention to what they were doing and saw openings as soon as the tires warmed up and made my moves.
Yeah, you had really good pace. Once you cleared that field, really no one able to challenge you. Let's go back to that first race, the fight that you had with Mariano Barrios. Incredible racing from what we saw. How did that from your side? It looked like there was just no opportunity to get around him. He was in good lines. And then all of a sudden, Lucas Dragotta comes into play. It just looked like a ton of good racing from our side. What did you take away from that?
Yeah, it was definitely fun. Mariano is a very smart driver, so he knew exactly where to put the car, and he made that McLaren a mile wide. I could not get around him without bumping into him, and I didn't want to risk ruining both our races. And Lucas came up out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, crap, now I got to worry about him. Then with I think we came to 2 to go, I noticed I only had 4 liters of fuel, and it takes 2.5 to get around this track, so you do the math. I was like, oh no, I just got to lift and coast and just let everybody by just so I can salvage whatever I can salvage. We had seen that. It was very fun though. It was a very fun race with Mariano, always is.
Yeah, that looked like an absolute ton of fun between you guys. Not the first time you guys have had good racing. It's great to see it continuing here at this place. It's such a tough track to pass, and really then throwing in Lucas Dragotta in the mix of that, because he brought a lot of pace tonight.
Yeah, he did. He was all up in my mirror. Good young talent. He's gonna definitely go places.
Yeah, that was an absolute ton of fun. So yeah, with the shortage of fuel, not able to salvage a top 2 or 3 finish in that first race, but you do come back, get the win in the second round tonight. So congrats on that. But I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for helping you get here.
Yeah, thank everybody at SCR. They helped me out a bunch. Thanks for Chad Sebring and Zach Mosley. Congrats to Zach. He did great tonight. Congrats to everyone with all their podiums. Thank the sponsors, Jordan, KB Motorsports, Oakley, Monster, Star Nursery, Bruzy, and Grid. And thanks for you guys for putting on a good show, and thanks for everybody watching.
Good job again, getting the win here in the second round tonight. Kevin Carlisle, SimCity Racing.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's now, Larry, bring in the driver who's no longer in the waiting room. We had Mariano Barrios. We wanted to talk to him and talk about that great defense from race number 1, but it looks like he has decided to call it a night. So maybe
Mariano, we're going to get you next time. I'm going to come back to
Exactly.
this one, Mariano. If you're in a pre-race or a post-race, I'm going to ask you about this race again. So just be ready.
That's right. No escaping Larry Lefty McLeod. All right, so maybe he had the right idea. So why don't we wrap things up as well, Larry? And as we always do, let's take a look and see what we've got coming up next on the schedule in the next couple of weeks. Next week, we switch back over to the World Challenge, and we are going to be heading down to Brazil. It is Interlagos for a 75-minute run to the checkered flag next Monday night, July 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then in 2 weeks, the Sports Car Series, we're starting to wrap this season up. We've got just 2 more rounds. We're going to be heading to Italy. We're already in Italy. We're going to be heading to Mugello for round number 7. And then in 3 weeks, the World Challenge at the National Park of Speed Road America for 90 minutes. And you also see there what looks to be a brand new series, the Ricmotech Mini Mite Pro Sports Car Challenge. And well, that is the Sports Car Series. We are going to have a new name and new attitude, the Ricmotech Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge. If you want to find out more about Ricmotech's Mini Mite line of direct drive steering bases, head over to ricmotech.com. And for more information about Extreme Motorsports Racing Leagues, head over to xmsracing.com. You can join us on the grid. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Monday night from Interlagos. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.